Going on YouTube? RDAP Dan here, Federal Prison Time Consulting. Happy Wednesday to everybody. Hope you guys are having a fantastic week. It is pretty late. It's about 9:40 p.m. East Coast. So hopefully some of you on the West Coast are catching as well. Thought I'd catch up with you guys a little bit here and talk about getting ready to go into the federal prison system, what you can be doing right now, and what the number one thing that I think most defendants should be doing based on what we've seen through our experience since 2016 up until about now. There does seem to be a common denominator there that really does overshadow everything else. And when you see these positive outcomes, it's because everybody does this one thing at some point. So we'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes, give you guys a few seconds to join in. For those of you that haven't been here before, my name is RDAP Dan. Company is Federal Prison Time Consulting. We specialize in sentencing mitigation for sentencing reduction, creating the best possible outcome. And none of that comes by mistake. I know a lot of you are in a very dark place right now. And that's the reason why this channel exists, because just like you, I was in the same very dark place and did not really know where to turn. So also, while you're waiting, make sure you don't forget to subscribe to our channel, subscribe to basically anywhere we are on social media. We have ourselves over there on YouTube and Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe, turn on your notifications, hit the like button. If you find value in this video, make sure that you send this over to your friends and family that you feel like might be able to benefit from it. Also, feel free to text the word YouTube to 76626. I'll put you on our notification list of when we go live. You'll receive a text message with a link. It did not go out tonight because they're updating the service. So I did not have the opportunity to send it out to you tonight. But take advantage of that because it gives you some free notifications. Sometimes you're out on the road, you're not in front of a computer, and that text alert can be the difference of if you're looking for some information to help prepare for what seems to be the absolute worst thing that anybody can potentially be going through, and that's the waiting period for what's next. How's everybody doing tonight? It's been a very long week. I told you guys we've been working on a podcast, and we're going to jump into the content of the video here in a second. But I told you guys we've been working on a podcast. We've got 2 episodes finished on the podcast. As soon as we get to episode between 3 and 5, we're going to go ahead and release the podcast. Federal Prison Radio is the name of the podcast. We also secured the URL, federalprisonradio.com. So you guys will be able to hop over to the website as soon as that's up and running, which the team is working on that as we speak. So how is everybody doing tonight? And many of you have probably had your sentences postponed. You've had plea deals postponed. Maybe even your pre-sentence interview has been postponed, all thanks to COVID-19. So that's probably the one thing that many people enjoy from COVID is receiving the slowdown in the process. And I know many of you are just like, I want to get this done. I want to get this over with. But I'm telling you, you can use this time very wisely right now. I know everybody wants to get through this and just get started. And if you're going to go to prison, you want to get in, get it over with. But remember, the preparation of what you're doing right now can really make the difference of what type of sentence you receive, what programs you may qualify for. And that's why we're going to talk a little bit today about the number one thing that is very common in successful outcomes for the defendants that we've seen, the clients that we've helped. And sometimes it takes a little bit longer for some than others to get onto this mindset. It really is a mindset. And there's many things that individuals could be doing better. Definitely having a positive mindset is one of them. But the number one thing, and it sounds so simple when you say it, but it's really not, because it's more than just saying it. It requires action to follow up with what you're doing. But when you talk about being accountable is probably the number one mistake that many defendants don't do soon enough. The more accountable you are and the more accepting of the responsibility of the situation that you're in, that is what's going to yield the most favorable outcome 99% of the time. For many factors. Maybe there's co-defendants involved. You've got other people that potentially could be participating. They could be looking to cooperate. And usually those who kind of jump out of the gate first, that's who typically receives the best possible deals that are out there. Now, if you're not guilty and you didn't do it and they've got the wrong man, that's a different story. But if you are accountable for anything that they said that you did, sometimes coming to terms with the reality that we're in, We don't want to go to prison. Many of us, for what we've done, we don't necessarily deserve to go to prison. However, the consequences of the actions of what we did is what led us to this point, and probably what led many of you to watching this video right now or later on when you actually see it. But these are things that could have been avoided. And all of us, we all say, if I could just go back and do this, if I could do things differently, this is what I would do next time. Well, thinking what you would have done and what you want to do in the future, I can tell you, whatever you're going through right now, getting ready to go into the prison system, getting ready to get indicted, you're under investigation, this time will come and go. You will be out in the free world for a period of time. You go do your prison sentence, you're going to come back into the free world, and it's very easy to fall back into a mindset of getting stuck in a rut or thinking that you're smarter than the average bear, which led a lot of us to our situation, thinking that we could outsmart the system. We were going to recreate wheels, and many of us are right back in the situation again. That's why you see many people going back into the prison system. Now, many of you this is definitely your punishment. You've learned from this mistake. And what does taking accountability even look like? What does that really mean when you're going through this? Well, to take accountability is different than just acceptance or responsibility. It's different than just saying, okay, I'm going to plead guilty and I'm going to say I did it, or I'm going to cough up to this because I'm going to get a good plea deal. And, they said I can get a 5K1. That is very common, very standard. You see it more times than not. There's really nothing special about that. That's kind of the bare minimum necessities of what's expected from you when you decide to cooperate. Staying out of trouble, maintaining a job, having a relationship with your PO, meaning that you're checking in. If you have an issue, you check with him. We get the call all the time where individuals are telling us, Dan, do you think there's a chance that they might give me probation? I haven't been in any trouble since this has happened. I've maintained a job. I've paid my fines. I've paid my restitution off already. We have individuals that have hundreds of thousands of dollars in restitution. Some of them are up in the millions of dollars in restitution of what they're going to owe. And many individuals are in a financial situation where they go ahead and take care of this stuff right away. And they think that that's going to be reason for them not to go to prison. You still have your guideline range. You still have whatever after all of your deductions from your cooperation, 5K1s, whatever that is. You still have your guideline range based on what your adjusted offense level is in your criminal history. That guideline range is going to recommend, in most cases, some sort of prison time. It's very common to see a judge sentence a defendant within the guideline range of the federal sentencing guideline table. So what can you do to create an opportunity for yourself to convince a judge that you're worthy of a departure from the guideline table, whether that be a highly reduced sentence, whether that be probation, home confinement, anything better than the guidelines or above the guidelines? That's kind of what you're looking for. And the way these are achieved, and what we've seen through and throughout with clients that have received these positive outcomes, it's not just doing the bare minimum, walking the same walk. Their personal narratives are outstanding. Their reference letters really coincide with what's in the narrative. The narrative is the letter that you're creating as the defendant that's going to be going to your sentencing judge. The reference letters are letters that your friends and family are going to be creating that's going to be going to your sentencing judge. Having this narrative done the right way, having it executed properly, having a team that can assist you with creating this narrative and guiding you down the right direction through a series of questions. We do a Q&A session with you. We're going to help you develop the right direction to invoke the best possible outcome. If there is an opportunity that you're going to stand in front of a judge that is known for, giving somebody the benefit of the doubt from time to time, this usually comes because that defendant has done something to extremely stand out from the average defendant. When I say average defendant, we're not talking about murderers and rapists and people that have been in and out of trouble their entire life. If you're a first-time nonviolent offender and you're getting ready to go in front of a sentencing judge, you want to be comparing yourself to other first-time nonviolent offenders that have committed somewhat of a similar crime to you, because this is the category that you're in. If you look at what most of them do and you see how they're walking and what channels they're tapping into, what you'll see is most of them are doing the right thing. Most of them are staying out of trouble. Most of them are doing really well on pretrial. Most of them have no issues with probation. Most of them are maintaining a job. Most of them are doing some kind of community service. So if they're doing all of these very basic, standard, expected things, what are you doing that's different? How are you creating a different outcome? And again, that's where our team comes in with the mindset coaching. Jenny spends time with a lot of our clients on a weekly basis, where we go through a coaching process. We go through, again, we're creating objectives, we're creating goals. You're being given assignments that you're going to complete by the next week's session. Every week, there's more and more information that's going to be completed by you. This is eventually going to create a very detailed report that gets turned into your attorney, that your attorney can use as part of his sentencing memo. It can play many factors, and this is all to help create a new version of you. If you say you're sorry for what you did and you don't want to make these mistakes again, and you're taking accountability for what you've done, how are you demonstrating that you're not going to do this again in the future? The whole purpose, typically the idea of a judge sentencing you to prison, is he feels you need to be punished and learn a lesson for the crime that you committed. And in many cases, they don't necessarily feel that you can learn a lesson. They don't necessarily feel that you can learn a lesson without going to prison. So if you're demonstrating that you have learned a lesson beyond a simple acceptance of responsibility, this is where you can truly have an opportunity to turn yourself. D, I just saw your message, just popped up in front of me. Shelly thought maybe something happened to you. She sent a couple emails and didn't get a response. And I remember you said you might be going somewhere. So now that I know you're still around, I think we should hop on a call tomorrow. And you see, look at what D. Sylvia just said in the room. She says, at this point, I really do not care anymore. And that is and I get why everybody goes through that. There's many individuals that will say they don't go through that. Sometimes they're faking it till they make it. They want to say positive things, even though they're actually feeling extremely down and negative and just like the battle has been lost already. This is a very trying time. Anybody that tells you this is no big deal, don't worry about it, I don't know what you're so upset about, I don't know what you're crying about. Everybody's got different situations. Some of us have mental health issues. Some of us have little kids at home. Some of us are, 60 years old. Some of us had our careers ripped away from us. And we have to now not only think about getting released from prison, but we have to think about creating a whole new set of techniques and a whole new set of skills that are going to go out and make a living for us. All of these things sound like just one step after another, a giant uphill battle. And it is. It's not meant to be easy. I can tell you that. And, federal prison and the thought of federal prison has crushed many men and women before us. It will crush many men and women before us. You have to, at some point, find your mental strength to where you overcome the objections in your mind, you overcome the negative self-talk, and you have to replace it with positivity. Typically, that's not done alone. Typically, that's going to be done through therapy. It's going to be done through coaching. It's going to be done through conversations. It's going to be done through openly talking about what you've done. And it's going to be done with taking accountability for what you did, not allowing yourself to live in the moment of, I don't really think what I did was that big of a deal. I don't think that I should be punished with prison because of this. There's other people out there that have done way worse than me, and they're not going to prison. It's the hand you were dealt for many of you. It's the hand that I was dealt. And I felt those exact same urges that so many of you are feeling right now. Now with COVID out there and the prison system is out of whack. I was just looking at it. Let's see if I can open it up here and show you guys. I was just looking at some of the positive cases there, and it's really insane. It's just, they actually took off the amount of people that died, which I thought was kind of interesting. Now it just shows here. Let's go look at the resource page. Let's get down here. We'll go do search by prisons. All right. So now let me share the screen so you guys can see what I'm seeing right now, because it's pretty. Share screen. Okay. Now we're sharing. Hopefully you guys can see that. Maybe I should move this to the other window. Not sure what you got. Are you guys seeing the BOP page, or are you just seeing a giant mirror image? Let me pick up the view here and see what you guys are looking at. But this is the reality of what we got going on. If you look at this by number of tests, look at Elkton FCI, out of 2,200 that have completed their test, 973 inmates tested positive. We've got several prisons that are up in the several hundreds. And then you've got prisons that have next to none. So it's extremely scary right now to be StreamYard. I don't think this thing is sharing properly today, guys. I apologize. Anyway, as you can see, maybe you saw that, maybe you didn't. I didn't really set that up properly, but hundreds and hundreds of inmates have tested positive with COVID. There's been quite a few deaths of inmates in the federal prison system that have died with COVID. I'm sure many at this point still have not even been completely diagnosed, haven't been finished testing. Death rates are probably still being tallied. So we don't know how worse it's going to get before it gets better. And many of you that are potentially getting ready to get sentenced, that's the big fear of yours is to, well, what is the judge going to do with me? Are they going to maybe give me home confinement? Are they going to think about a probated sentence to avoid putting me into a high risk situation where this COVID-19 could be attacking my immune system? Maybe you have asthma. There's so many different things that could be really terrifying individuals right now. And these are things that are somewhat out of your control, but what is in your control is the preparation you're doing. If you're looking for some sort of a probated sentence or highly reduced sentence, or maybe a split sentence, these are the types of things that you need to be focusing on, and not just thinking that it's going to happen because you're staying out of trouble and you're doing the bare minimum. I know a lot of you are probably working extremely hard. We've had some clients just recently that have just gone in and got sentenced. We've had some clients that are going into their PSR interviews. We're starting to see everything slightly pick up a little bit as far as movement within the court system. They've got their system underway now where a lot of these courts have just moved to video court where they're doing Zoom. I've gone and watched a few of the cases. A lot of my clients have sent me the link to get approved to go watch their sentencings. And it's really no different. You're standing there, you're at your computer. Maybe it's a little less intimidating because you're not in a courtroom, but at the same time, you're trying to listen through headphones, or, not everybody has some kind of a little home studio setup. Some people are probably doing this on their iPhones. They're getting sentenced through an iPhone. You're trying to listen to what the judge is saying. You're trying to listen to what the prosecutors are saying. Your criminal defense attorney is trying to give his argument. And how good of an argument is he really giving? Well, he's doing it from his cell phone. I mean, we're in such different times right now. The waters are, when we talk about uncharted territory, this is more uncharted than most of us will ever see in a lifetime. And we just want to hope that this turns around, that people can maintain and stay safe through this. And this is why we've helped so many of our clients get extensions on self-surrendering. We're working with a lot of clients right now where we're trying to do something through CARES, getting them approved through CARES or through compassionate release before they even enter into the prison system, if they have issues that would qualify them for something. So there's a lot of options that are out there, but there's no one size fits all. And that's where everybody fits into a different category for what their needs are, what their budgets are, what their expectations are, and what their willingness to work is. Everybody's usually, at least upfront, verbally willing to put in the effort of what it takes. You will see a decent percentage of individuals that do not work as hard as they could be working, where they're waiting for somebody to kind of do a lot of things for them, and it requires a lot of push and a lot of pull, which is okay in the beginning. But as you graduate through this protocol and this system, and it's just like RDAP, for those of you that are looking to take RDAP, and RDAP is being closed down in a lot of places right now. A lot of individuals are asking where RDAP is, and we're double checking before we're giving out information, because a lot of the prisons that have RDAP in them are either on temporary hold. Some of them are on permanent hold until further notice, and some of them are killing the program altogether. But in RDAP, you have steps of completion: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Phase 1, you're expected to kind of like fight the system a little bit. Maybe you're still learning it. You're not used to these new habits. Phase 2, you should be kind of progressing a little bit. Maybe you're still making some minor mistakes, but you should be showing definite more progression than you're regressing back. And then once you get into phase 3, At this point, you're really expected to make very, very minimal mistakes. You're not expected to do things that are catastrophic that you would have done in phase one. You're not expected to, do something illegal in the prison system. You're not expected to steal out of the chow hall. You're not expected to lose your temper. You're expected to have learned the tools that's required to maintain a healthy lifestyle, to make positive decisions. And this is what is required of you right now. You're not in RDAP, but what's being required of you if you're going through this process is there's going to be the grieving phase where you're going to find out you're under this indictment or you just got arrested. And sure, you're going to scramble. You're going to be back to a corner. You're going to look for any way out of this possible. But at some point, you're going to realize, okay, what's the next step? Because this isn't just going away because I want it to. Well, the next step is slowly understanding what it looks like to take accountability and responsibility. And just because you know that you should be doing it now, that's the next step, doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing it. Well, in that middle area is where you got to start practicing these habits. You got to start putting in the effort. You got to start making yourself more aware. And then slowly what will happen is if you keep putting in these efforts and you keep working the system, and if you're a client of ours and you keep going through the protocols, you keep setting the consultation or the appointments with me every week. The reason why we have a calendar, we call it the VIP calendar. The VIP calendar is for existing clients to book a call anytime they want. We ask you to be respectful of time, but yes, you can book a call anytime you want within what's ever available in that calendar. It's not our job to chase you down and check on you every week to see how you're doing. Yes, if there's something we need from you, we're going to reach out. If there's something we're supposed to be talking about, we're going to reach out. If enough time goes by and we don't hear from you, we're going to reach out. But two-way street, phone calls go both ways. Your job as the client is to also stay engaged. Let us know what you're working on. Let me know what you're struggling with. Let me know if your attorney called you or somebody's dragging their feet or your family hasn't turned in the reference letter questions yet. This is why we have this open line of communication, this open door policy, where I'm not a consultant that's going to tell you, well, I don't have time to talk to you, or you've called me too many times. We hear this all the time. There's a consultant out there in the industry that's been doing this for quite a while, and his head's gotten quite big to the point where clients are told, you're calling me too much. You're paying somebody thousands and thousands of dollars, and money aside, the mental state that a lot of us are in going through this is we're not getting the feedback. We're not getting the questions or the questions answered from our attorneys in many cases. You guys hear me say it all the time that we contact our attorneys to ask questions, and we leave that phone call with more questions than answers many times. So the point of a consultant that's going to step in and pick up where your attorneys left off is not anything legal. We're here to fill in the gaps of what to expect, calm your nerves, give you realistic expectations, sometimes maybe be a little stern on the phone with you on what you should be doing and what you're not doing, checking your point of reality, a reality check. What's a reality check? Make sure your reality is realistically going to help you make better choices and better decisions. So this is what you're focusing on. It all comes with taking accountability, full acceptance of responsibility beyond just the fact that you want to get a better plea deal. You have to actually start believing it. You have to actually believe what you did was wrong. You have to own what you did. You have to do this deep down introspection on this and think to yourself, if I had the opportunity to do it all over again, what would I have done different? And what am I going to do different in life in the future when a fork in the road presents itself? That's what you want to work on. There's a link in the description of this video, guys. If you do want to book a consultation, the link is there. You can also, again, like I said, come check us out on other social media. Let me know what you guys think of this video. If you find value in our content, please let us know. Our team takes great pleasure in the individuals that we get to work with. Some of you are more active than others. We are blessed for those of you that really take this serious. For those of you that are still struggling and you're still mentally going through something extremely rough, Sylvia, I know this is not easy for you. It never has been easy for you. It's not going to be easy for you, but it will come to an end. It will be over. You will be out. This will be behind you. And I know right now it seems like, what's the point? Lost my career. All of these things are now different. Well, things will be different, but human beings are amazing. We have the ability to overcome and succeed when we put our mind to whatever it is that we want to do. And that's why so many of us got in trouble, because we put so much focus and energy in getting what we wanted. Sometimes we just kind of skipped a few steps. So if you apply that same basic drive to a more positive, clear, thought out plan, focusing on consequences and weighing out your options, you can create type of life that you want for yourself. It just takes hard work, dedication, but it all starts with owning up to what you put yourself through, that you're putting your friends and family through, taking responsibility and starting there. All right, guys, I'm RDAP Dan, Federal Prison Time Consulting, people up in people, communities method, one day at a time. Hope you guys have a rest of your week fantastic. I'm going to try to check in on Friday, so everybody's doing. All right, guys, I'm RDAP Dan. Have a great night. Peace.